Hi there. It's Lisa Belechi St. Romain here on our 11th Sunday of Ordinary Time, our second reading from Romans. And so you know that I often will use a different translation in order to understand and get a little more three-dimensional picture of a reading. And this one is a lot of theology words, and so I have chosen the Message as my second, and I would like to share with you. So, brothers and sisters, look at somebody as you say that. Christ, while we were still helpless, yet died at the appointed time for the ungodly. Listen to how this is. Christ arrives right on time to make this happen. He didn't and doesn't wait for us to get ready. He presented himself for this sacrificial death when we were far too weak and rebellious to do anything to get ourselves ready. And even if we hadn't been so weak, we wouldn't have known what to do anyway. Okay? So basically, while we were still helpless, too weak, too ignorant, he died at the time that was appointed for him, for us, the ungodly. Okay? Now, indeed, only with difficulty does one die for a just person, though perhaps for a good person one might even find courage to die. And to me, this is a premeditated choice. It's not a spontaneous or impulsive like dive to save someone, but what Jesus did was with full knowledge of what he was going for. Okay, so here's how what he was in for. Here's what the Message says. We can understand someone dying for a person worth dying for, and we can understand how someone good and noble could inspire us to selfless sacrifice. But God put his love on the line for us by offering his Son in sacrificial death while we were of no use whatever to him. Okay? God proves his love, emphasis on proves. God proves his love for us in that while we were still sinners, pause right there, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. So that's a very important line. How much more then, since we are now justified by his blood, will we be saved from him, through him, from the wrath? What's happening? What is that saying? Now that we are set right with God by means of this sacrificial death, the consummate blood sacrifice justified by his blood, there is no longer a question of being at odds with God in any way. Jesus has set it right. Okay? If when we were at our worst, we were put on friendly terms with God by the sacrificial death of his Son, now that we're at our best, whatever that is, right? Now that we're at our best, just think of how our lives will expand and deepen by means of his resurrection life. So if indeed while we were enemies, we were reconciled to God through the death of his Son, how much more, once reconciled, will we be saved by his life? So isn't that interesting? I like how this kind of explains this in simpler terms. And the purpose of using both of these is so that you will be able to deliver this with more dimension and more meaning, not just say words, right? And not only that, we also boast of God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we now have received reconciliation. So boasting is a joy, so that doesn't exactly come through. We sing and shout our praises to God is what this version says. So boasting sounds like, yeah, I'm proud of it, right? In the best sense of boasting. So, all right. So to know that Jesus' death wasn't an impulsive thing, but a premeditated and aware of all the suffering that it would contain, was especially courageous, right? And God proving his love. And now that God proved his love, we are saved through him from the wrath. So okay, there we go. I'm going to stop. Read it out loud so that you have a flow and you have emphasis, and God be with you.